Day 9. I took a couple of days off because I was in Vegas. I said that I would probably try and video all that, but going with people that like to go out and party and drink, and you're kind of just sitting there, it's kind of tough to get away from all of it and actually sit down and make one of these videos. But I kind of just wanted to talk about how I'm kind of mentally feeling. And it's really a kind of get to know yourself kind of thing, because I've never really sat down and truly thought of what really I want. And I think it has come down to just being proud of myself, because everything that I've accomplished, achieved, was basically from someone else. Like my job, being able to pay for this house that I currently live in. In my eyes, I see it as effortless. And doing something or achieving something effortless isn't something I want to be proud of, because there's nothing to be proud of. And even though I'm ahead of 99% of the people my age, it still feels like I'm behind. And so I kind of wrote some stuff down I wanted to go over. Excuse me. And the first one is pretty much just asking, what do you actually do? Like what do you actually enjoy doing? And I probably sat here like this for 10 straight minutes, and I couldn't think of anything. I couldn't think of hanging out with people that I like, because I don't have that right now. I couldn't think of being around family, because that doesn't last forever. Even though you enjoy it and everything, and I love hanging out with my family, it still kind of hurts departing from them. And that just comes with like growing up. And so I pretty much just wrote down doing things I'm good at, because who doesn't like doing things they're good at? And trying to make money online, you're going to be bad at it. You're going to be bad at literally everything you try online, and that sucks. But with struggle comes growth, and without struggle there is no growth, so you have to go through it. And just what I'm kind of doing is just keep telling myself that. And I've never really done anything like this, so it's all brand new to me. And so it's really, really tough. The second one I wrote was, why don't I feel proud of myself? And the first thing is, I don't pause to feel proud. So whenever I achieve something, like actually starting this YouTube channel and actually making videos, I didn't make that first video and sit down and really reflect on what I just did, because not a lot of people will sit in front of a camera, talk about what they're struggling with, like how I'm struggling with my communication, and I'm trying to get into something that is going to level up my communication skills. Not a lot of people will do that, post it, and either reflect on what they said, what they're doing, kind of going over like what they could do to better themselves even more. Not a lot of people will do that, and I didn't sit there and reflect on what I just did, because that's a big step in this journey, because now I can't stop. Now it's gonna keep going, and if I stop, then it's pretty much just tearing a hole in my heart, because for me to be proud of myself, you have to do something that is a struggle for me. And I don't know if it will relate to anybody, but it's pretty much just relating to me, what I'm kind of just talking about, kind of giving you my side of things. But yeah, without just sitting there and pausing for a little bit, I just wasn't proud of what I was trying to accomplish, because in my mind I was just thinking of the end goal, and instead of thinking of the output, you have to think of the input. And so for me to slowly continue to be proud of myself throughout this journey, I have to be proud of what I can put in, and then the output is just a byproduct of what I'm putting in. And that brings fulfillment and the pride in your life and clarity in your life. And so that's what I've currently been trying to do. The second one I wrote for why don't I feel proud of myself is I don't downplay achievements. It's hard to feel proud when your inner voice keeps discrediting your progress. So, like, for example, whenever I do something, like if I achieve something that is fairly difficult, and you just kind of blow it off as like, oh, I was just lucky, or it's really just not that big of a deal. Your inner self is pretty much just telling yourself, your outer self and your subconscious, that you just didn't do anything to deserve that. And that just deplenishes all pride right there. That it just takes away everything, what you're trying to get out of it. And so that one was one that I've realized that is going on in my life, and I'm going to try and cut that out in my life. And then the third one I wrote down for that is, are your wins aligned with your core values? If your progress isn't rooted to something meaningful to you, it feels hollow. And so if I didn't care about doing these videos, and I was still doing these videos because everyone else was telling me to do these videos would continue to just like tear me apart, because I'm doing something that isn't fulfilling my goals. And with me trying to get better with my communication skills, the only way to get better with communication is to communicate. And so why would I be going out to play basketball if I'm trying to better my communication skills? I'm not trying to become an NBA player, at least not anymore. And if I spent 5 hours a day working on my basketball skills, down the line, it's not going to do anything for me, because my true goals are on a totally different path than basketball. And so by doing these videos, watching them back for myself, continuing to figure out which words I struggle saying, and trying to get rid of those pauses just a second ago and quit saying just pretty much continuing to better myself in a way where by the end of it, I'll have full confidence in myself, and that confidence will bring in that pride and fulfillment. So that's pretty much just what I wanted to really go over. Really kind of just trying to find who I am and what I want to achieve. Because a lot of people just say, I want to be financially free. But then whenever you ask them, well, what does financially free really mean to you? They'll say, 10 grand a month. And then you can just dig down into a rabbit hole and say, well, what would 10 grand a month do for you if you had it? Or like, what if I told you that you could make 10 grand a month, but you have to struggle for 2 years to get there? Hopefully not. I'll bring it down. 2 months to get to 10 grand a month. How hard would you really work? You'd probably work your butt off to get to that. Like every single day of those 2 months, you would work your butt off if you had a straight vision of what you needed to do to get to that 10 grand a month. And so there's really no obstacles besides just putting in that input, like I said just a second ago, instead of just focusing on that 10 grand like most people do. And so by doing that and really focusing on the input, that 10 grand is just a matter of time, and you're pretty much just worried about when. Honestly, that's the only thing you really have to worry about. And so if you just worry about the input, then you're going to succeed. It's plain as that. And consistency is everything. Discipline is everything. If you're not disciplined, there's no consistency. And so it's all just connected together. And I really just kind of wanted to talk about that because that's really just been on my mind from coming back from Vegas. So yeah, day 9. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.